Hello and welcome. I am Kelly Hearn. I'm so glad you're here today, and we are talking about building trust within a team, regardless of how much trust you are feeling outside of the team. Now, again, I am Kelly Hearn, and you are on the channel for Kelly Hearn with Transitional Leadership, where we talk every week about helping individuals and businesses implement leadership and career development skills to foster a greater impact. And today, like I said, we are talking all about trust. We are talking about trust within your team, the team that you are leading, and how you can foster and develop that trust regardless of what's going on outside of there. Now, the blog this week talks about building trust within your team and sort of going through the hard times with them, so that you can develop those trust um, relationships, those trusting and really deep team relationships. I give a great example about one of my biggest critics. Spoiler alert, he lives under my own roof. How I have built trust with him by going through those tough situations. But it applies to your family, it applies to your relationships, it applies to your work in all the same way. And so it's just a matter of applying the details of the situation that you're in to actually create and foster the trust that you're looking for. So, like so many things, what happens in business or what happens in our career or in leadership is happening in every other relationship where we're an influencer. It's just a matter of applying those skills. So, what happens in that blog, you can click the link in the notes of this show to go check that out. But for the purpose of this video, we are going to focus on a corporate situation and a client that I actually have been working with. Now, the client has a great team relationship, a great team dynamic. They have a ton of trust. Some of that comes with the amount of time that they've been working together, but everybody has come in and out of that team at different times. The leader herself was promoted from within, and some of those people that she's managing were on that team before she was even hired into the team at all. So they were there, they helped train her, and then she was promoted to lead the team while they're still on it. And there have been other people who have joined the team along the way. So there, in and of itself, is kind of a recipe where people would say or people would assume that it would be more difficult to build trust in those situations. And I wasn't working with her when she first came into the team or when she was first promoted in that role. But based on my interactions with her and what we've discussed, I don't see that it was ever really an issue. And I think it's because she was really in the trenches with them. Now, being in the trenches with your team can be a double edged sword. It can have some really great benefits and it can have some risks. So I want you to be careful with that if that is, the situation that you are either in right now or entering into as you come into a supervisor role. But definitely send me a comment, send me an email, and we can talk through that sort of situation. But where she's at right now is she has this great trusting relationship within her team. What she is struggling with is how to kind of keep the outside at bay. So she doesn't have as much trust in the leaders that are above her as her team does in her. And she doesn't want to lose the trust that she has built with them over time because of kind of the climate outside of things. And it was funny. She actually brought me in to do a workshop with her team outside of our coaching relationship. And I, of course, did it. She doesn't need her team to do team building. She could, use it as a litmus test of just how much trust and how much strength as a team they have. But the team itself didn't really need to be built in that way. And I want to help you understand why. So, one of the reasons is she has a really strong, consistent vision for that team. She isn't always getting that consistency outside, from her leader or those above her. But what she knows to be true, the top three most important priorities, biggest, most critical deliverables, that is what she is focused on with her team. So she is keeping the rest of it at bay. Excuse me. And so when she is talking to them, she's focused on those top three things. And that helps them keep a consistent vision and align everything that they're doing with those priorities. A few members of her team have gotten so good at this, in fact, that when she asks them to do things that are outside of these top priorities, they are able to coach up and push back with her to say, do you really want me to work on this side thing? Do you really want me to spend, 8 hours out of the next 3 days to finish this project because it doesn't align with this vision? Now, sometimes the answer has to be yes. Sometimes we have to take on those urgent requests or important things that don't necessarily align with the vision, but asking the questions and knowing enough where your strategic initiatives are to be able to ask those questions makes a huge difference in how your brain works and what you're focused on and where you're giving your full attention. So that is one thing that she has done time and time again, is just keep that consistent vision going. Another thing that she does really well is she has so many different personalities on her team. Sometimes you can get a leader who ends up just hiring the same person with a different name over and over again. You've seen that, right? Where you they have a certain personality, so they hire Susie with that same personality. And then they hire Betty, who brings the same sort of energy, the same skill set, the same everything. And then they hire Tommy, who is just a male version of Susie and Betty. I think that's what I named him. And so they are really just getting the same skill set, the same strengths, the same motivations and excitement over and over and over again. Don't be fooled into thinking that's a good thing. That isn't. That's a topic for another day, but don't let that be your hiring style. And this client did a fantastic job of really getting a diverse group of people to do the work that needs to be done and really get a wide range of skills so that they're able to leverage each of these individuals. Now, that is the way to do it. That is the bread and butter way to hire to make sure that you get all of the skills and diversity of thought that you need. However, it means that everyone has a different type of communication style, different motivators, different things that are going to light them up. And so the next thing, after having a consistent message with the vision and the priorities, the next thing that she needed to do and has done is really work with them individually on how each of those priorities apply to them. Now, if she has a customer service rep who is working on the same vision, the same priority as a business analyst, per se, um, the way they work towards customer service, let's say that's one of their primary priorities, is customer service, and you have a customer service rep who's talking directly to customers, and you have a business analyst who's working with numbers and trending. The way they focus on customer service is going to be entirely different. The way they talk about customer service is going to be entirely different. And this leader has done a really good job of speaking to them and filling their actual needs to make sure that they're getting what they need. And they're both able to focus on that primary goal of customer service without having some boilerplate information about how, the customer is our top priority. That might be true, but it won't develop any trust. It won't develop any independent thought if you can't apply that to the different roles that report to you. So she has done a fantastic job of that. Now, in contrast, her leader is shifting priorities and then also just using the same language and the same, email template for all of them. And so she's not getting the clarity and the individuality that she needs. And it's not even based on a consistent priority. So it's almost like the worst of both worlds, where she's getting consistent words that don't match up with what she actually needs to hear to align with a vision that she isn't clear about what it is. So, just like I said in the beginning, she's not getting great stuff outside of her team, and she wants to make sure that she protects it inside of her team. So far, she is doing a great, great job at that. Now, the last thing that she does really well within her team is having a balanced focus on what they do and what the result was. This is super important because sometimes best of intent does not lead to great results. And so, while we want to applaud results and we want to encourage people to get good results, you can't always hold them accountable to the results if there were other things that came up. So, like I was talking about earlier, when there have been projects that kind of came from the side or weren't in this top three priority list, but needed to get done, if something else didn't get done that week, if a priority was missed because she gave a different assignment, she needs to have an understanding and balanced approach to that, right? Because she changed the inputs. Now, likewise, you could do all of the work wrong and get lucky and have a great result. You still want to coach the people and make sure that you're holding them accountable to the work that you were expecting them to do. You need to hold them accountable to the inputs that we wanted them to have. But you have to balance that with, I can't fly off the handle because it still did work out great. We still did get a great result. So let's go back to that customer service example again. So our customer service rep maybe didn't follow the script that they were supposed to follow. They didn't use the inputs that they were supposed to use, but they still had a happy customer at the end. They still maybe got them over to the sales side that they needed to be on, and everyone was happy. Everything worked out great. But we still want to coach them, and we still want them and the team to understand that using the right inputs or following the right process is important. We're just going to balance that with, it worked out the way it needed to. So, probably not the thing to throw the book at them for. Now, um, on the business analyst side, we could be expecting them to show us a report that has all of the trending going up, 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 because we did all of the inputs right. We used all of the scripting that we're supposed to use. And instead, when they do the math, it shows a plummet. Now, is that something to get upset with them for, even if it's only, maybe a math error and it really should have gone up and up? We need to work with them and show them a little bit of grace for the effort that they're putting in, even if a mistake was made. And that is another thing that she has come to balance so well. Now, uh, nobody's perfect and everybody has some room for growth. A lot of us can focus a little bit too much on the grace when we need to add a little bit more constructive feedback to it, or vice versa. We can get so hung up in the process that we forget that people are human and they're going to make mistakes. But all of that process and your own humility coming into it and owning up to mistakes or overswings on one side or the other is going to develop that trust, is going to create that team bonding. Now, if you're looking for the extra credit asterisks at the end, how do you coach up on these things? How do I help this client go from where she's at now, where things are going great in her team, but she needs some assistance kind of coaching this up? Is you bring each of these to that situation. You be the leader with your own boss. So when your boss gives you something that hits you from the side or that wasn't in a priority yesterday or last week or last month, you remind them what the priorities have been. And you ask, is this a new priority? Should I be moving one of these out? What is the goal here? You be very open and clear about that messaging. It also, incidentally, helps you build better boundaries. But again, lesson for another day. And then you communicate with them the way you need to be communicated with. So if you get that boilerplate email that just feels like they mad libbed a new situation into the same old communication, call them up. If your thing is email, send them a better email asking for more clarification. Use specifics. Set up a meeting if that's the way you'd rather discuss it. Figure out the way that is going to work individually for you, and then set up that time with them. Should they be doing it? Sure. But is knowing that someone else should be taking responsibility going to help you? No. And then the last thing is you can balance your focus on those inputs and those results. You can take the lead on that to say, I made a mistake here. I can probably do this part better, but the result was awesome. So I'm super proud of that. Or vice versa. I did everything right, and still the result didn't get me what I wanted. So I'm wondering if you, boss, manager, leader, have recommendations on how to get more of the result that we're after. Because so far I'm following the directions, I'm following the recipe, but it didn't give me what I needed. Take that leadership approach, take that influential person approach. You are the leader in your own life, in your career. And this is the part where you can be helping to hold them accountable with someone else by your side, holding you accountable for those results and leading in the life that you love. All right. I feel like there were so many different opportunities for tangents there. So I'm going to try and make a few more videos just kind of honing in on those little details. But if, as always, if you have any questions or specific situations that you want to get my feedback on or get my responses to, put them in the comments, send me an email. Everything you need to be able to get a hold of me will be in the show notes. And if this was helpful for you, if you know someone who has so much potential as a leader, but they're just not getting the support from the outside that they need to be able to build that trust and build that team relationship, would you just share this with them? Send this video over to them so that they can learn more about how to build that trust within their team and with the leader that they're working with. All right. Thank you so much. And again, if you like this, if you want more, please subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a video, and head on over to the blog to learn about that other situation that helped me build trust right within my own home. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.